Hey, this is Rod Cleef, and you are listening to the Mailbox Money Show with Bronson Hill.
All right, so I am excited for this interview with Dr. Maria Nemeth. She comes super highly recommended from an entrepreneur friend that I know said that, hey, of all of the people that I've studied in finance and all the different books I've read, this person is very successful and well read. Said that Dr. Maria is number one, and she's been on the Oprah show. She's been doing this for years. Her book, The Energy of Money, came out 26 years ago, and she's been impacting people's lives since then and before then. So, really excited for this interview. I think you're really going to enjoy it. Just the beliefs around money, how maybe your beliefs are limiting how you look at money. In my new book, Rich Brain, which should be out soon, I'm working on it. Hopefully, it's how the wealthy change their brain to change their bank account. It's really this type of topic that if you change your mindset, you can change your wealth, you can change your life. So let's jump in. All right, Dr. Maria, welcome to the Mailbox Money Show. How are you
I am
today?
thrilled to be here, Bronson. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, I love it. I love how much energy you have, and that's what we're going to talk about today is mastering life's energies, the energy of
Yes.
money, all of the
Mm,
things to do with energy and vibration, all that stuff. So, love talking about it. So, for those that are not familiar with you, you've been on the Oprah show. You've written
yes.
multiple books. You
Yes.
coach people. You have
Yep.
courses. I've had somebody in my entrepreneurs group say have made some of the highest impact of anything related to finance, and this is somebody who's a very high net worth person who's generated 4 or 5 businesses and very successful businesses. And so they said you were at the center of that. So I'd love for you to give yourself a little intro and just talk about your
So
work. And
sweet.
I know, but when people make an impact in their life, we love hearing those stories because that's what actually
Mm.
changes. It's great when someone's a great person, but it's like, hey, this person changed my life. Well, that's quite an endorsement. So I'd love to hear just from you a little bit about some of your work and what you really do around the energy of money and mastering life's energies.
Well, the bottom line for me, Bronson, because I've been doing this for so many years, is my aspiration is always with whoever I'm with to empower them to lead the life that they know they would love to lead.
Mm.
And um, all the work that I've developed, my paradigm for coaching, it's all aimed at that, because um, let's face it, most of us work very hard at what we're doing, no matter if we're high net worth or not. There's still something that we know we want to learn in terms of being successful, et cetera. So I am a PhD psychologist from UCLA. I am a master certified coach through the International Coach Federation. Um, I've written several books. One of them, The Energy of Money, is the one that I got on the Oprah show for. And yes, she is wonderful for all of you listening. She's
I'm
great.
sure.
Um, I operate, found, and currently direct the Academy for Coaching Excellence, where we train coaches. And so the bottom line for me is to always produce value, because one thing that I want for, it doesn't matter who I'm talking to or who I'm coaching, for example, I want them to know that every minute of their life counts and how important it is to live without regret
Yeah.
and to do really what is in your heart to do.
Yeah.
So that's me in a nutshell. And yes, I see money as one form of energy that you and we have to learn how to master. And I think that's what your work is all about,
Yeah.
giving people ways to master their relationship with money so that they create the kind of flow that they really want, and
Yeah.
they can experience themselves as successful. So I say, good on you.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Well, I love it because I mean, really what you're talking about too is at the end of our lives, typically
Yes,
people don't say, hey, I wish I'd made more money, or I wish I'd worked
right.
more hours, or I wish I had done more, achieved more. But when it comes down to it, I wish I had lived out a purpose that I wanted. I wish I had actually gone for my dreams. I wish I had actually been with the people that I really loved and cared about. And
Yes,
so it's kind of like below all this, it's the Simon Sinek concept of start with why, right? So you can have all the stuff, but if you don't become that person, you don't like, well, what is it you really want? And really determining what that is. What are some things that you kind of help people to clarify what it is they want and kind of help them to get them both as a coach as well as in your work.
Well, one of the things that you and I were talking about earlier, I have a definition of success that I
Yeah.
think is possibly useful in terms of living the life that you know you were meant to live. Success, in my definition, is doing what you said you would do consistently with
Mm,
clarity, focus, ease, and grace.
mm,
Where clarity, okay, clarity, Brunson, is being clear about what it is you truly want.
yeah.
And a lot of my work is aimed at helping people discover what it is they truly want, not what they should
Yeah.
want,
Yeah.
truly want. Focus is the second, and that's learning how to focus your brain toward what you truly want without distraction.
Yeah.
And you and I know that, especially in the past 5 or 6 years alone, the amount of data that is entering our minds every day. I mean, from mailboxes to, come on, emails to all the
Yeah.
commercials to everything that we can look at. I mean, there's so much that we can become distracted by.
Yeah.
Uh, I'll say one word, and everybody probably knows really what that means. Instagram. Oh my gosh. Talk about flooding of information.
Mm,
So clarity, focus, ease. And ease is about learning how to take small, sweet steps toward your goal. And one of the reasons that people get stressed out or give up on themselves or their goal altogether in life is because they've taken off too much of a chunk
hmm
and they wear themselves out.
Yeah.
You know, uh, uh, there was a kind of a tool that was developed for the Japanese people after the Second World War. It was called Kaizen.
Yeah. The continuous
And
improvement.
Kaizen, of
Yeah.
course, is the principle of doing small things enough times so that you advance. And of course, this can be applied to huge businesses and thousands of people, that if each and every day, each one of them took one step toward improving the company, a company starts blossoming. Well, it's the same with us.
Yeah.
If we take smaller steps, we don't end up wasting energy, and we're there, you
Yeah.
know? And of course, grace. So we've got clarity, focus, ease, grace. Um, Grace, the definition is our capacity to see what is already working around us instead of what's not working. And you probably already know this, but one of my subspecialties was neurophysiology when I was getting my PhD. And a lot of research has shown that our brain has been designed to look for what isn't working first. It's
Yeah.
about survival.
Yeah.
It hasn't been trained to look for what is working. And grace is what the experience is when you are seeking and seeing what is working. And the gateway to grace is gratitude.
Yeah. I agree with
You know,
100%.
now
Yeah.
everyone says yes, okay, but what can I be grateful for? Well, pragmatically, all right, if you're listening, everyone, get a little notebook that you put by your bed every night. And before you go to sleep, before you put your little head on your little pillow, name 3 things that you are grateful for. And if you hear your brain saying, there's nothing for me to be grateful for, say to your brain, thank you for sharing, and go ahead and list 3 things. Okay?
Yeah.
Do that for 2 weeks to 30 days and read what you've written over that time. You will see grace in
Yeah.
your life.
100%. No,
Okay?
there's so much there. I want to slow you down for a minute because there's so much you're sharing about success, clarity, focus, ease and grace. And the last thing you talked about with grace and gratitude is something I do every morning. Actually, I do in the mornings. I write down 5 things. I have a little gratitude journal and just write down, here's 5 things I'm grateful for today. And some things are grateful. I have legs. I can go on a walk. I have my daughter. I have people that love me. I've got my front yard. I can go sit. I can smell the flowers. Like, it's just these things that are simple, but there's always something to be grateful for. And Brené Brown talks a lot
Yes.
about this in her work that I follow quite a bit. It's just the link between gratitude and joy. Everybody wants more joy in their life, but if you practice, the people that do have more joy practice more gratitude. And I think it's if we're just
Yes.
grateful for all the things that we have. And so there's so much I think to unpack from each of those steps.
Well, let me
Yeah,
add a little
sure.
thing about gratitude. I think you're absolutely right in what you're saying. The slight difference is that when you keep a very small notebook by your bed, it doesn't have a lot of lines, it doesn't have
Mhm.
a lot of other things to do, just a gratitude little notebook.
Mm,
And when you're looking at what you're grateful for, look at what happened to me today
yeah.
that I was grateful for. Okay. Keep it as experiential as possible. I think it's wonderful to be grateful that you have a family. And at the end of the day, is there something that you said to one of the family members, or something
Mm,
that they said to me, or I watched my daughter practicing piano for the first time ever. And, just like, what is it? What's the sweetness of the moment?
yeah.
That's, I think, will have a great impact for you.
Yeah, I think I'm sure I know that there's a lot of science behind it, but yeah, getting the specific you can. Um, so you mentioned too, actually another practice that I do actually at night is I do it's called win streak, where you write down 3 wins for the day or 3 things that happened that you accomplished or things that you did.
Mm,
And also, what are 3 wins you're looking forward to tomorrow? And this is something I actually teach my daughter because, a lot of times, like, confidence is developed by having small wins, and it kind of goes into what you're saying of just like, what are the little things that
yeah,
happened today that I look back, say, wow, this good, this great, big or little thing happened, and then when I visualize tomorrow, it just gets us to kind of reflect on it a little bit. But
it does.
you mentioned this too about the idea of really focus and having a goal, but not being overwhelmed by how how huge the goal is maybe, but just the little steps that you almost the micro steps you take towards that.
Yes.
Do you make little goals for yourself each day, or how do you create those kind of small steps for yourself, or how do you advise clients to do that, those small steps?
Well, first, let me say something
Yeah.
to you before I go on to that. It's clear to me how much you love your daughter,
Yeah. I
because
do.
even when you're talking about her, your eyes light up so much.
Yeah. I
It's
I
wonderful.
do. I love her a lot. She's amazing.
I can tell.
She
I
she
can
teaches me
tell.
a lot about life and yeah, about so many things.
Well, she's lucky to have you as a dad. I can say that, but that's
Thanks.
a psychologist in me talking right now, and I'll get back to the other thing right now. So,
Sure.
um, uh, it is so that uh, every day we can work on larger goals. Like my next book is called Living Without Regret. So doing and I want to have it published uh by the middle of next year. I'm looking right now as to, as you authors always do I go with my usual publishing house that I've always gone with? Do I go self-publishing? Do I do a hybrid thing? But the bottom line is, what little research can I do every day on
Mhm.
regret
Mm.
and techniques that can be taught to how to live without regret?
Yeah.
For example, you can have, there are different kinds of regret, things that we didn't do that we should have done.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I should have learned to water ski, honest. but but look, I'm 80 years old. The likelihood of me learning how to do water skiing is not very likely at all. Yes. So then replace it with something that you can accomplish,
Yeah.
like taking a hike. We just got back from Santa Fe, New Mexico,
Oh, nice.
taking a nice long walk all over Santa Fe and enjoying the sights there.
Mm.
So uh, going toward a goal, the definition of a goal, Merriam-Webster, a goal is an area or object toward which play is directed in order
Mm.
to score.
Hmm.
Play, the P word,
Play.
you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So how can I play toward that goal of writing a book?
Yeah.
And so that's one of the tips that I would offer people. There's a lot of other things you
Yeah.
could,
That's a really, I want to just break that down for a minute. Yeah, because I think the idea sometimes we think of goals as being this super dry thing, whatever. But when we can make things into a game, we can gamify them. And I do read my goals each morning, but I think it's something about just, hey, can this be fun, or can it be somehow tied into something that I can make fun, or is there some reward, or is there something that's motivating, or something even
there
just
you
as
go.
small
There you
that's
go.
exciting, or it can be, you work and then you take a break and I don't know, you do jumping jacks or dance or you do something that you enjoy. What's the thing that you
Yes,
like to do? So I think that's awesome.
you're
Um,
right on.
yeah, yeah, that's really neat. So I love the integration for you of all of the learning that you've had, and you're also a coach. So this are things that you coach entrepreneurs, even friends of mine, you coach to kind of in their
Yep.
business and their life.
Yep.
What would you say to someone who I think like a lot of our audience is are people that are very driven, that really want to create a better life for themselves. And you know a lot of people like this. I both know a lot of people like this, but
Yes.
there are people that they're able to make those over time. They're able to make substantial progress because they take those small steps. And there's people that really, in a lot of areas, just don't get really clear on what they want. And so life just kind of continues. What would you say some of the difference is between those two, or some of the aha moments that kind of help someone to really figure out what they want and take those steps along the way?
Well, one of the things that uh, you can do is clarify for yourself um, what your life intentions are. There's something called life intentions. Okay, they sound like this: to be physically fit and healthy, to be
Yeah.
a loving family member, uh, to be financially successful, to be a great leader, to be a great mentor. But there are ways that you can look at what are my life's intentions? What is it that I want to fulfill? To be an adventurer. There's a whole lot of things that you can look at in terms of what I call life intentions. Then this is what you do, okay? You take a couple of them that are really resonating for you right now, like on a scale of 1 to 5, they would score a 5. And you say, okay, here are two life intentions I have. One is to be an adventurer, and one is to be financially successful.
Hmm.
Then for each life intention, you pick a small, sweet goal that you're going to play for. Now, why do you do this? Because you want to know that every step you're taking is meaningful for you. It's worthwhile for you.
Mm.
You're not doing it just because, oh, maybe you read about it, you heard about it, maybe I should be doing this. But when you really check in with yourself, last analysis, it doesn't sing to you.
Hmm.
So, out of discovering your life's intentions, you can then pinpoint a couple of goals. Like for me, one is to be a successful author. So, I have this next goal, which is to write my next book, Living Without Regrets.
Yeah.
And then I can create these small, sweet steps toward that goal. But the bottom line is this: um, if you truly want to be successful, okay, if you truly want to live with clarity, focus, ease, and grace, first become clear about what's important to you.
Yeah.
Allow yourself the time to do it. And sometimes you can do it just talking with a friend. What do I want to be known for is another thing, you know? Um, I want to be known for being a generous friend, for example. Great. How might that look? There was one guy who said, I want to be known for being a generous friend. He decided to open up a trust.
Mhm.
He's actually started a little foundation to fund certain nonprofit programs around his area in the Valley in Los Angeles. So happy
Yeah.
because he can see some of his money doing so much good.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Love it. Yeah.
So success comes when you are, first of all, clear about what's really important, you know?
I love what you're saying on this because I think for so many of us, I don't know, a lot of people will think, hey, I just want to have the money. I just want to have the life. I want to do these things. I want to, and they don't really like it. There's such a link between the personal development side and becoming the person, right? It's that be, do, have thing. You can't just have the stuff. You've got to become the person, then do the things, and then you can have the stuff. But people really wants to just like, honestly, most people's plan financially is like their rich uncle dies or they win the lottery. And it's again, even if those things happen, a lot of people haven't developed the character or the purpose or the things that can really manage those things. That's why a lot of lottery winners are more miserable afterwards. After they win.
Oh, Bronson, I have to tell you, you are so correct, sir. I have I have coached so many people who have won the lottery.
Mm,
And a couple years, I'm one guy, 4 years later, he was in worse financial shape than he was
yeah,
before he ever won the lottery.
yeah,
But the bottom line is, for a number of people, I had to do with wait a second,
yeah,
step back, see what it is that's really important to you. Because how you do money is how you do your whole life.
yeah,
Um, let me just say quickly, there are 6 kinds of energy we have to learn to master: money, the energy of time. And right now, time is more precious to many people than money,
right,
you know? Uh, Physical vitality, that's the third energy. Creativity is the fourth energy. Enjoyment is the fifth energy. And then relationship is the sixth. And I put money at the beginning because how you are in your relationship with money gives you information on how you are with all these other areas of your life.
yeah. And it's interesting too. Money is I guess you would describe it almost like a leading indicator, but it's something that everybody's interested in. And not everybody, but a lot of people are interested in talking about money and getting, more of it. But it says a lot about who someone is, right? Money, it brings out, they say if it makes you, it amplifies, right? So if somebody's a really great person, money gives them the ability to do more good. If somebody's a jerk, they become a jerk that has money, right? And so there's more opportunity to do not
Yeah,
good stuff. But
until they wake up. Until
until
they
they
wake up. Let's
until
just
they
say
wake up. That's
that.
right. That's right. Like Scrooge, was a Christmas
Exactly.
Carol
You
or
got
something. He
it.
becomes
You got it.
so people
Exactly.
can change, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, well, that's really that's really neat. So for you, with I guess one thing that was on my notes here was the idea of subconscious blocks around money. What are some things that you find people have? I mean, we have some thoughts in my book on Rich Brain about just some ideas around worthiness and around money. But what are some things that you found block people's ability to have money, to maintain, to invest it, to grow wealth, and be, not just do the important things or have the stuff, but actually be a wealthy person from who they are on the inside?
Well, I'll tell you, um, it's important for people to discover what their own, you might say, hidden stumbling blocks are. Okay. Uh, so one of the things I suggest people do is to take out a large piece of paper, almost like poster board, big piece of paper that you can write on. And then you take some colored pens. So I'm giving you guys an exercise because I'm a coach. That's how I do it.
That's some homework.
So
It'll help you.
yeah, exactly. So in the middle of the piece of paper, you put the word money. And then you start associating. You draw a line, and you might call that line things that I've learned successful people do, uh, things that I don't do. Um, reasons I've used for not being successful. And that would be another. And then, the time that my uncle, whatever, said you'll never be a success, or, what you do is you have to surface
Hmm.
this whole, I call it a structure of knowing about money. And you can, I mean, I remember a few people saying that, I could spend a couple days because I'd write certain things on this, and then I'd with a different color pen, and I'd step back and look at my uncle's relationship with money and my aunt's relationship with money and my dad's, and all my thoughts about what's good about having money and what's not good. But you got to get it all out where you can see it.
Hmm.
Okay. Then you step back from it. You place it where you can separate yourself about 3 feet, and you look down on this thing. And you say to yourself, have I had enough about doing it this way with money?
Mm.
Especially because you'll find all the things, remember, that your brain says don't work about money. It's called the negativity bias.
Yeah.
Remember, the brain looks for what isn't working
Most
before
of the
it looks
time,
at
yeah.
what is working.
True.
So, but surface it, look back on it, and say to yourself, look at it for a couple days. It's worth, I can tell you, what I'm telling you is worth 20 years of therapy.
Yeah.
And then ask yourself, how would I like my relationship with money to be? And you take out a smaller piece of paper and just write immediately, easy, fun, generous, free to travel, da, 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 da. Write it all down and look at it. And you can compare it to all the thoughts you've had about money. And ask yourself, which ones do I choose to focus my brain on? And obviously, 99% of us will choose to focus our brain on what is working about money and us versus what's not working. And
Yeah.
then you tear that other piece up. And I've
Yeah.
had people start little bonfires with that little
Yeah.
piece.
I'm
You know
sure.
what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
there are ways you can surface so you can go beyond it. Is
Yeah.
that helpful, Bronson?
No, it's super helpful. And I think again, there's so much of what you're saying, which I think is been just a part of a lot of the work that I've done in relation to money or just myself or other things. Cause it's amazing you start unearthing that in different areas of life about
Yeah.
who you are and things that have happened to you and all these stories come up and all these things. And then, I've done some work with the Landmark Forum and some other things where just all these stories, we're living out of this story. I was living out of a story that wasn't even something I chose, something that happens when we're typically between 5 and 10 years old. And again, also with money, things our parents say about, oh, we can't afford that, or does money grow on trees or whatever, or do you think you're going to be like, it's amazing to me how you can create the life you want to create if you are intentional about it. And if you really pull apart what are the things that you're believing. And that's why I'm super big on words. I have a friend who will start saying negative things. Oh, I'm so dumb, or I'm this, and that. And I just say, hey, like, let's be careful. Like every single thing you say will reinforce. And so that's why the word, everything is a tool, and that is going to tear you down. That's not going to build you up. And so it's words, it's energy, it's
Hmm.
focus. And I think when you can unpack those beliefs that sometimes we didn't even really choose, they were just kind of inherited or something happened. But then you actually
Oh,
get
but
to
who
like,
knows exactly? Who knows
yeah,
why they're there?
yeah,
Just kind of like breathe them to the surface, take a look at them, and ask yourself, is that what I want my brain to
yeah,
focus on?
yeah, exactly. Is that
You
what I
know?
want? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So good. I
Because
love it.
one of the things I learned fairly early on is that we are not our brains. We have a brain. We have two eyes, a nose, a mouth, and a brain.
Yeah,
And who we are is that which has the capacity to change our brain,
yeah,
change where the brain is focused. And so for me, it's first become clear about what you want and then train your brain to focus on it. And whenever you have one of those negativity bias thoughts, you can always, I say to people, you can always say to your poor sweet brain, that's okay, honey,
yeah,
but I'd rather focus on this. And you'd be surprised, Bronson, how our brain in many ways acts like a little puppy dog. if you train it, and if you have some compassion for this organ that's been with you and been with humanity for so long, the brain starts to calm down, and then you can shift the focus of your attention. So I think you and I are saying a lot of the same things, but from different paradigms that differ, but that the result is pretty much the same.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I absolutely, I think well, it's amazing. I think in life, we can see things. I'm willing to try a lot of different things because I know that a lot of times we're open to try different things.
Yeah.
It allows us to bring changes in our life. And if something doesn't work for us, it allows us to try something different. And so I love your approach. I want to ask you one more question. And then I want to ask, how people can get in touch with you as well, because I know you have some different things that you have to offer that people can reach out as well. But when people talk about positive thinking, sometimes it's not enough, right? I think there's some thought that if I just think positively enough, what are some limitations of just being someone who's a positive thinker, as opposed to the approach that you're saying about, pulling out the things and really evaluating the beliefs and I'd love,
And just
some,
getting some distance from them, okay? Getting
yeah,
I call it the observational gap. Well, basically it's this, Bronson. If I'm a positive thinker, it means that I'm trying not to be a what?
negative thinker.
Exactly. Because the brain, in its simplicity, is fairly binary.
Yeah, good or
It's one of
bad.
the reasons that they're having such a good time with artificial intelligence. It's amenable. Some of it's amenable to binary. And so if I'm a positive thinker, then I'm trying not to be a negative thinker. What if instead you could transcend those opposites and say to yourself, I want to become a clear thinker.
Yeah,
I want to be known as a thinker,
yeah,
because positive and negative puts me at one end of this binary pole. And that's not where life is. Life is much larger than that. Do you know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
people find out about that in the sometimes the most dire conditions, like guys who come back from soldiering in a war, and they finally discover through just horrendous experiences that uh, what they want is to learn how to transcend, how to get observational, how they can rise above so that they can retrain their brain,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So to become a thinker is so important. I mean, look, do you think George Bernard Shaw ever worried about being a positive thinker?
No,
No, no, no. How about Thomas Jefferson?
no,
Uh, uh, you know, uh, Nelson Mandela? No, no. He was more interested in becoming a thinker. And that's one of the reasons people ended up loving him so much. Maya Angelou, Eleanor Roosevelt. These people never worried about being positive thinkers. They were concerned in thinking, just thinking. Thinking what? Thinking thoughts that have some meaning, some importance, that will make a difference in their lives and the lives of others. Because in the last analysis, really, and you know, uh, uh, this young man, I was leading very quickly, I was leading a workshop on forgiveness at a place called Esalen Institute in Big Sur in California. And during one of the breaks, this young guy sits down next to me, and we're both looking out on the ocean because it's right on the ocean, Pacific Ocean. And the sun was actually setting. He said, Maria, I've learned something uh, over the past month. And I said, tell me. He said, well, I was with my dad for the last 4 weeks before he passed away. And the last 2 weeks were the most difficult. But 1 week before he died, he called me in and he said, I have to tell you something. I want you to remember. He said, everything that I thought was an obligation in my life, I now see that it was a privilege. Taking out the garbage was a privilege. Changing the diapers on my children was a privilege. Everything that I thought was an obligation on my shoulders really was a privilege. And so if you begin to look for that which is currently and has been a privilege for you, for me right now, talking to you, you're clear to me. You're a brilliant guy. You love people. You love your family. You love your work. And it's a privilege to be talking to you.
Thanks, Dr. Maria. Appreciate that. Well, I just want to say, on my behalf, it's just been a real joy talking with you, and I know our audience as well is going to really love this. And how can people reach out to you? How can they connect with you? You have coaching, you have your books, you have courses. Can you talk about how people can connect with you?
Sure. One thing, I have a biweekly article that I send out to people. If you go on to marianemeth.com and sign up for my articles, you can even see I've written about 110 of them at this point. They're short, designed to be read in 3 minutes, and they're along the lines of what we were talking about today. If they want to talk with me about the possibility of coaching, they can always reach me through Monica at acecoachtraining.com. And we set up times for me to talk to see if this is something they want. If they're interested in a really potent yet sweet course in self-transformation, they can always go to acecoachtraining.com and sign up for our introductory course. It's called Mastering Your Life. And it's not just for coaches, it's for people all over who, some of the people who recommended me to you have taken that course. Yeah. And so you can always do that. We give that course 4 or 5 times a year. It's a 4-day course, all on Zoom. It's like transformation in your pajamas.
Love it.
And yeah, I love to hear from people. And please go through Monica at Ace Coach Training, because if you try to get me on my personal email, I get swamped every day like everybody else, and I may not see you.
And we'll put the links in the show notes too. But Dr. Maria, this has been great. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate you. Appreciate how you stand for people to transform, and also talking about the energy of money. So thank you for being here, and we'll look forward to hopefully connecting with you again soon.
Thanks, Bronson. It's really been fun talking with you.
Thanks so much. All right, great interview today. Again, a lot of stuff around mindset, a lot of stuff around the person you're becoming, more than just the stuff that you have. And a lot of times on this show and a lot of wealth stuff, we talk about how to become wealthy. And that's a great thing. It's great to talk about wealth, but really the why is so important, and getting clear on what you really want. And also a big takeaway for me was the micro steps, right? I see so many people that have big dreams, but they don't take any steps, and it can be overwhelming because you think you got to do everything in one day. But it could be, hey, can I take this one step? Can I make one phone call? Can I go to one meetup this month? Can I do something that will actually put me closer to my goal? And so hopefully you have one goal in mind. Maybe just take a pause right now and say, what's the one thing that I can do this week to better myself financially, or even work on my mindset so that I can get there. So I hope you enjoyed this, really enjoyed it myself, and would love to connect with you. If you haven't checked out my book, which is Fire Yourself Behind Here, we have, it's become an Amazon, category #1 bestseller. It's almost 800 reviews, and we're just really thrilled on the success of the book, so much that I'm excited to be able to launch the next book. So check out the show notes below, and look forward to catching you on the next episode of the Mailbox Money Show. You've been listening to the Mailbox Money Podcast. For more free resources, articles, and videos, go to bronsonequity.com. There you can download your copy of the special report, The Single Best Investment Strategy During and After a Pandemic. None of the information shared here is an offer to buy a specific investment, and this is for educational purposes only. Consult your financial, legal, and tax professionals and use your own common sense before making any investment decisions. Thanks for joining us, and be sure to tune in next time for more Mailbox Money.